everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Pretend Pros podcast. We're glad to be back with you today. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jenny Hoffman, the rookie, and Beth.
I am Beth Painter. I am the IU fan. That's how I've been introducing myself. In this episode, though, just like Jenny, I'm a rookie. We are going to learn about another new sport that I would say we probably know nothing about. So we are interviewing Rachel today, Rachel Mehringer. She is a Forest Park High School graduate. Very weird coincidence. She is not the only Forest Park High School graduate we have had on the podcast. So I will say thank you to my friend Matt, who does listen to our podcast. He introduced us to Rachel, and the episode a couple weeks ago with Amber, who I think you actually graduated with, right?
Yep, she
Yeah.
was in my graduating class.
Yeah. So very weird coincidence. We've done two Forest Park High School grads from the same class, but Rachel is a hurdler. So we are going to learn about hurdling today. So as I mentioned, she graduated from Forest Park High School, where she won back-to-back state champions in the 100-meter hurdle. So that's 3 if we were counting. And then also a state champion in the 300-meter hurdles. She just finished her junior year at Indiana State, the Sycamores. So go Sycamores. That is also where my friend Matt went to college. He had a record-breaking season, so I hopefully got all the right stats. There were many, many, many phenomenal stats, but Rachel is currently the fastest 100-meter hurdle athlete in Missouri Valley Conference history. It's a lot of years. I don't know how many, but it's a lot of years. She has the Indiana State and the Missouri Valley Conference record in the 60-meter hurdles and the 100-meter hurdles. She had an undefeated season this past season in the 100-meter hurdles and broke the 13-second barrier, becoming the first Missouri Valley Conference athlete to ever do so. And I'm not done yet. In the past June, so just last month, he placed 7th in the NCAA Outdoor National Championship, again in the 100-meter hurdles, with a time of 12.99 seconds, which earned her a first-team All-American title. Just for reference, last year placed 13th in that same competition, which qualifies you for a second-team All-American honor. So, wow, phenomenal season. Like I said, probably lots of things that I skipped, but hopefully I got the big ones, the highlights at least. So welcome to the podcast, Rachel.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
What does it feel like to hear all those lists of accomplishments?
There have been very few times where I guess in an interview, someone lists off all of my stats. So that was definitely a first for me. It's really cool to hear all my accomplishments in a list. I definitely think it's more than just a list. I mean, there are so many memories that come with all of these accomplishments. And it's just like a flood of memories, and it's fun to hear them all because I really have been able to do so much, and I've been able to be very successful with what I do.
Yeah, that is for sure. We'll start with some of the most recent ones. What is it like to compete in an NCAA championship? Obviously, Jenny and I will never have that feeling in any sport. Since this was your second one, how did it being a second kind of help you, maybe nerves or prep?
I think it being my second time around in the NCAA national stage, it was really helpful because it's not like it's your first time. The first time going is always, especially when you're underclassmen, it's always really nerve-wracking because, you're walking around and all these athletes are all amazing athletes. They're all very impressive. There was a world record that was broken at the NCAAs this year. So, all these people are incredible athletes. And, you're walking amongst them. So it's just it's really cool and it's really easy to get lost in it all. So it being my second time, I think I had a better mindset going into it and I was more confident in myself and what I was able to bring to the table this year, because I think so much of track is confidence, especially when you get to the higher level and believing in yourself that you belong there just as much as everyone else does. Because, there's a reason you're there. It's not anyone just gets to go. So, it's one of those, it's a reassuring moment, but it's also scary in the beginning. But it being my second time it was a different experience just because it wasn't my first. And I got to experience some new things, meet new people and meet new athletes, which was really amazing.
What is that event and what are the implications for that event?
So the meet I'm competing at this weekend is, I think its technical title for all intents and purposes is USA Championships. So this is the equivalent to Olympic qualifiers. Olympic trial qualifiers, or for years that they don't have Olympics, it's the world qualifying meet. So it's the USA qualifier meet for Worlds, which is what they host the year before the Olympics. So next year will be Worlds, and then this would be a qualifier for that. And then this year, there is no Worlds and there is no Olympics. So it's just the USA Championships. So it's a big meet.
There's the potential that you could try to go for the Olympics.
Yes, in the next couple years, in the next 2 years, if I qualify for this meet again, then this would be technically an Olympic qualifying meet. So yeah.
Okay.
That's very cool.
It's a very high caliber, impressive meet. There's a qualifying time. I believe the qualifying time to be able to enter into this meet is a 12:97, I think. I'm not sure. But with this meet, there are qualifications there. You have to be running a certain time or you don't get entered. And it's professionals, it can be college, and you can be high school. So it's really any age range if you hit the standard time that they have.
Okay. Because
So
you hit that earlier, because I think the time I mentioned was your NCAA time, but you would hit under 12:97
correct.
in other meets, right? So that's what
Yes.
qualified you? Okay.
Yes, correct. So I hit my fastest race this season dated was a 12:64, and then wind legal was a 12:71.
And can you explain what, because I read that a little bit, the wind aided and the
Yes.
wind legal, what on earth does that mean?
Yes. Okay, so in track and field, in any event that you are sprinting or that wind can affect your event. They have a wind meter that they set up at some point in the track or on the track. And during your event, they take the average wind of the wind for your event. So the wind cannot be over 2.0 meters per second of wind. I think that's the measurement. It's meters per second.
And do you have to run it again or?
No. So if it's over 2.0, then it is considered a wind dated race. So they count it as a race with assistance. So in college, you always run with the wind, not against the wind. So they count it as a assisted race. Therefore, they call it wind dated. And it is not a quote unquote legitimate time for ranking purposes.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. And then every place is different. Some places have wind, some places don't. Some places have crazy wind. And one of my races, I had a 5.5 wind, but somewhere else they don't have that. So it's one of those things. Whenever you get to outdoor track, it's one of those unpredictable elements that they try to make a standard with so that there is a considered safe time versus you had assistance, if that makes sense. I don't know if I explained that very well.
Yeah, no, you did. It's crazy to think the wind could help you that much, right? That it would make a difference. I can see running into the wind would certainly make it harder, but it's hard to believe the wind is pushing you forward so fast.
Yeah.
So going back to the cutoff time for being able to enter this championship meet, do they take everyone who makes that time, or do they have a cutoff of how many they will allow to enter?
So they take anyone who is ranked 22 and above. So the top 22 in the U.S. can enter in this meet. So, and then with track, you have to enter yourself. So it's not like they reach out to you and say, hey, you've qualified. Do you want to run? It's more of you kind of keep an eye on your ranking if you qualify or if you hit the standard time. So, for example, top 22 doesn't cut off at 12:97. There are probably about 40 hurdler athletes who run under 12:97. So they can all enter into this meet, and then USATF, the World Committee, decides how many they decide to take. I'm not sure what the number is. It kind of varies year to year, I believe, depending on kind of the competition that's coming in and how closely everyone is running time-wise. But it's not like they reach out to you and ask you if you want to run. You have to enter yourself into this meet. And then they will, after you enter, they'll tell you if you've qualified, if you made it in, and then they'll kind of give you okay, these are the expectations. This is where you have to be. This is check-in. This is the schedule. And then they kind of give you the information after you've been accepted into the meet.
So is this the first time you're doing this particular one?
Yes. Okay. I have not been able to qualify for this up until now. So
Yeah, that's
this is a
awesome.
first.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited. It'll be a fun
And this
meet.
will be 100 meters. Like that's the only race you're running for this particular meet?
The 100-meter hurdles, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. I only say
Awesome.
that because there's a 100 dash,
Yep.
and yeah.
You mean you're not going to run that too? I feel like if you specialize in one, you're not doing both. I imagine most are not crossing over. Like you specialize in either the
Right.
dash or the hurdles.
Right, definitely. I don't think I've seen an elite world-class athlete that's in the hurdles that does really, really well and then is also really fast in the 100. I'm not saying it can't be done. I've just never seen it. So it's definitely it's a completely different race than the 100. But I've never seen it.
So I was gonna say, we asked Amber when we interviewed her about like cutting down the nets, right? Because that's sort of in
Oh, yeah.
basketball, like that's the big
Yeah.
moment. And again,
Uh-huh.
Jenny and I are never gonna get to cut down a net after we won something. So I'm assuming the equivalent for you is getting a medal and like being up on the podium, because that's what you would get, right? As medals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at nationals, this was my first time making it to be an first team All-American. And they gave me a medal and then they also gave me a trophy. I think that is the validating, this is how you did, this is how you performed. Because with track and field, I mean, basketball for Amber is so like, it's team. It's a team sport and they get to cut down the nets together and that's the whole team thing. But with track, it's so individual.
Yeah.
And it's like there are team aspects of track and field, but so much of it is individual. So yes, I would equate the equivalence to cutting down the net to getting a medal and like getting on a podium and that kind of thing. And then they announce how you did. And so yeah, I would say that's equivalent.
You got to do that in high school too, then I'm assuming, right? With your state
Yes, it depended
Yeah.
on the meet. In high school, they did it at state, but they didn't do it at sectionals or any just regular high school meet.
Okay.
But it was mostly reserved for the higher level meets in high school. I mean, and same with college too. They do podium at conference and at nationals. That's it. I mean, we don't do podium a whole lot either. So it is a special moment.
Yeah.
Beth and I were talking about this and we were thinking this has to be like the absolute hardest track and field event besides maybe pole vaulting.
Yeah.
What got you into hurdling? Were you a sprinter at first and then you kind of naturally progressed into the hurdles?
Definitely started out as a speedster as a kid. I was always a super quick kid. I joined track and field in middle school as soon as I could. Hurdles kind of happened because my dad was actually a hurdler in college. And he kind of showed both of my siblings. I have two older siblings. He kind of did track with them in high school and was teaching them hurdles. And I was like, oh, I want to do hurdles because I want to be like my big siblings. Like, I don't know, that's such the youngest sibling thing to do. But I ended up actually being really good at them, like just naturally. And he was like, well, shoot, man, we should start practicing. So we started to practice more throughout middle school, and I decided to kind of specialize in hurdles fairly quickly. And the only reason I was able to do that was because my dad was so knowledgeable in hurdles and he was very accepting that I was young and wasn't trying to force it too fast or force too much. I attribute a lot of my learning and my ability to him being able to not push it too fast. Because the one thing that like in track and field, you can start so young. And some of the things that make me nervous is that some of these kids are starting at the age of like 10 and they're going. They're competing in all these meets and they're doing all this stuff. Excuse me. And it's just a lot. And being that young and, so I started hurdles when I was in middle school and I kind of started to specialize from there and work my way up. And it was just something I really enjoyed. And it turned into a bonding experience for me and my dad. We really enjoyed doing it together. And he ended up being my coach all throughout middle school and then high school. He was my coach. So we had a lot of time together and a lot of bonding time. And so, yeah, he was a huge contributor to my success coming up to this point.
Hurdling looks like one of those sports, like we had somebody on who's a diver. And I feel like as somebody who doesn't really understand diving, like it's hard to watch because you were just, but I feel like hurdles is the same way from my perspective. It just seems like it would be so easy for something to go wrong. So when you first start learning, like in my mind, you're on like pillows. I'm sure that's not like how do you have to fall a lot at the beginning, I would guess, right? So how do you not get
You know,
hurt?
yeah, I think in the beginning, you are so timid because, I mean, whenever you start running hurdles, if you like think about it from like a literal standpoint, your body is telling you you are literally running at a brick wall. Like
Yes.
you're running at an unmovable object. What are you doing? So it's one of those things that I feel like through time and through lots and lots of practice of, you aren't always moving as fast as I am now in the beginning. You are
Sure.
moving significantly slower. And I mean, your body only lets you do what it's comfortable with doing. So if that just means you start out slower, that's just where you start out. So I think what made me be able to do well in middle school was that I just wasn't scared of them as much. And I don't know why. I have no clue. I mean, my dad would say, he was like, the only reason you were good at them was because you weren't scared to hit them. And it didn't make sense because people don't like to hit them. And he was like, so that's why we just continued doing it because you weren't scared of hitting them. And I did fall. I'm not someone that is not injury like free from all of this. I mean, all throughout high school, I had at least one serious scrape up every year. So it happens.
Wow.
But, from that kind of standpoint, it is mentally tough because you have to kind of retrain your brain to not look at it from the fear side as much as you are looking at it to overcome the obstacle more so than fear it. And it just comes with time. I mean, I didn't start to do well until high school. So, it's just one of those things. It just takes time, lots of
Yeah.
practice, lots of repetition over and over and over and over.
How are you counting strides? Because there has to be some kind of cadence to it all.
Yes. So I will say, now that I've been doing this for quite some time, that is not something I think about at all, which may be shocking. It definitely was one of the biggest barriers to get through when you are learning how to hurdle, however. So the key of hurdling is 3-stepping. You take 3 steps in between each hurdle in the 100-meter hurdles. Your first 2 are longer. Your last step is super quick and you cut it short. I know this is kind of a lot because you may not
This is
understand.
fascinating. So please keep going.
Yes. So the trick is 3-stepping. And that is one of the biggest like fears for people because you feel like you're not close enough or you feel like you're not going to make it. And that was the biggest obstacle and is, I think, for most hurdlers whenever you're learning how to hurdle. Once you learn how to do that, it kind of builds on its own and you get better and faster and more comfortable with doing it. So counting my steps, I don't do anymore. I used to in probably 8th grade or freshman year, but more so 8th grade. I think that was something I was having to do because I was learning how to 3-step. Counting at this point in what I'm doing, I don't have time to think about counting. It's more of running now is so, I feel like second nature. It's just like trying to figure out how to handle the speed for me as of right now.
And then how many hurdles are you going over in 100-meter?
10 hurdles.
Holy mackerel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're getting that done in, you said 12.6 seconds or 6.4 seconds?
That was my fastest race this year.
Like how is that? That feels like that would be a blur, but to you, is it not a blur or?
It's definitely one of those things where I am aware of what's going on as soon as they shoot the gun. I think I remember 2 hurdles in, don't remember, and then the last hurdle I'm there, and then that's it. So it is so fast. And like at this point, I mean, now it didn't always used to be like that, but I think it's because, adrenaline takes over all of the practice and all of the work I've done that this is so second nature. And this is muscle memory for me at this point. Just trying to handle the speed and not let that overtake the fear side of my brain. Because it is scary. I mean, whenever I've gotten faster this year, that has been the obstacle for me is not being scared of how fast I'm coming at these hurdles because they do come faster and, so yeah.
You talked about the start, and I think that's the key. And you may not know this, but I ran my own 50-yard dash earlier this year for the first time.
For you!
not
Yeah,
very
I don't
fast,
know about
but, you
that.
know, I
Hey,
can improve.
that's okay.
But I think the hardest part, you know, for a sprinter or a hurdler at 100
Yeah.
meters is that start. It is probably super key for your
Yes.
race. So what is that like as you're getting into the blocks to be ready for that gun to go off? And
100% the start is a key factor to the 100 races, the hurdles and the dash. For me, this year I've been focusing a lot on where I'm putting pressure in my blocks. So whenever you're in the blocks, you have two pedals that your feet are on, and then your arms are out front, shoulder width apart, probably a little bit. And you have pressure on your fingers. You're not flat on your hands. You're up on your fingertips. So for me, it has been focusing on where I'm putting my body weight in order to be able to, whenever they say set and you have to raise, that I'm not shaking in my blocks because all my weight is on my arms and on my hands. So everyone is different and everyone can hold themselves at different degrees and different levels. So for me this year, it has been kind of finding the sweet spot for myself and that, okay, where can I hold myself comfortably, but where I'm also in a point where whenever that gun does go off, I'm still in a position that I can like power out of my blocks and get moving. Because I mean, from different angles, you either gain or you lose the ability to exert power. So, I mean, different coaches will say different angles are the sweet spot. But I mean, honestly, I think everyone is different. Everyone has different strength levels, like natural strength levels. And so I think for me this year, it has been focusing on pressure and where I'm putting all of it and being able to feel comfortable while also being able to be engaged as soon as that gun goes off.
I think that's the part that's like crazy about probably all sports, right? Is like when you get to this level, it is like such the tiny little nuances of like your fingers at the beginning of a race that like starts to make a difference. And like you can just keep tweaking and like gaining itty bitty little partial seconds that turn into, you know, many, many PRs during a season. That's awesome.
Yes, and then with hurdles, you're running at barriers. So as clean as you can make your race, the better. Every time you hit it or you nick it or you barely just touch it by a hair, it does slow you down.
Yeah.
I mean, even if it's just like the slightest hair, it does slow you down because it throws you off and you're moving at a speed that your body has to completely recalibrate and recenter itself and figure out how to move forward with this race. And so that's another factor too with hurdles is being able to adjust to hitting them. How do you recover? If you recover, and you know, that kind of whole thing it is a very interesting race. And I think it's also interesting to me now being at this level, everyone hurdles so different. Everyone's hurdle form is relatively the same, but if you really like inspecting every hurdler's form, everyone is so different, which is like so fascinating to me because I've been doing it the same way for so long, thinking this is how you do it, this is the right way, blah, 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 whatever. And then getting to college and seeing so many people do it so different. And it's like, wow. I mean, and they're efficient and they're moving and competing at this level. And it's like, wow, your hurdle form is different than mine and you are doing so well. It's so interesting to see how everyone is truly so different.
Yeah, I feel like there's a life lesson in there somewhere of like, we're all running the race differently, but like we're all winning our own races. It's like you can translate that to like the world, right? That's interesting.
Right.
I guess the overall form, and I'm going to go way back to my middle school cheerleading days. I feel like it was like, I don't know if y'all know this, but the jump, the herky.
Yes, the herky jump. I was
so is that basically what your form is in a hurdle?
In the very beginning stages, sure, for all intents and purposes, to kind of like give someone a visual. Now, hurdle form, if my dad was listening, he'd be like, don't say that you have a straight leg. Your lead leg is supposed to stay bent. You know, you're supposed to have what he would always tell me was short levers move faster. So if you're moving your lead leg, which is the leg that comes up first, it goes over the hurdle first, you want to lead with your knee and then come straight back down. Your foot should not extend and straighten out, ideally. Now, whenever you're watching full speed race, it definitely looks like it's straight and it looks like it's straightforward and it's sticking out.
Yeah.
But, you know, so anyway.
Okay.
So you talked about like clipping a hurdle. So obviously you can clip it and not actually have it go down or you go down. You can just
Correct.
kind of graze it a little bit.
Yes.
You started to talk about that a little bit. So what is that like? And I guess there's, as you said, there's probably degrees of like how much you're hitting it and like
Yes.
how do you recover from that?
I think it really I hate this because there's so many factors. I mean, okay, why did you hit it? Did you hit it because you were too close? Were you moving faster than normal? Was there not too much wind, but was there a lot of wind that it was pushing you forward and you weren't ready for the hurdle to be there yet? I think there's so many factors that kind of can affect different things in your race. And how do you recover? It just really depends on how hard you hit it. Where do you hit it? How do you hit it? What do you hit it with? If you hook your foot and you drag the hurdle with you, you're going down. Like,
Yeah.
there's no recovering from that. Or, if you hit it with your trail knee and you barely graze it, you'll probably be fine. So there's just so many factors. That one's a hard one to answer because, it really just depends. It depends
like
on how hard
in
you're
a
clobbering them.
season, like in a whole season, how often would you knock one completely down or is that not happening a whole lot anymore at your level?
I definitely hit them and they fall over. I have gunwood. I did not fall this year. This year was a clean year. Last year, the year before, and every year up till, I did have a crash and burn. I bit the dust.
Yeah. So then
But it happens to everyone.
Yeah. Are you getting back up and then like finishing the race? Obviously not winning.
That is the goal.
Yeah.
That would be the goal. Get up, finish your race, stay composed, try to do your best and compete to your best ability. Just for don't create bad habits.
Yeah.
Don't quit. It's the same in practice too. I tell my teammates, especially the freshmen, they get so in their head and they think to themselves, oh, well, I don't want to embarrass myself and I want to do this right because, everyone's watching and you're learning. It's okay to mess up. It's okay that you hit them. But if you hit them and you're doing a progression of 4 hurdles, don't bail on the third one because you still had one left. Finish it, stay composed, figure it out, and then that's learning in itself is if you hit the third one and you stay in it and you stay engaged and you keep going, your brain is learning how to readjust and how do you keep moving in situations like this because every situation is so different. And I think that's tough. It's a lot of learning and it does take time and it takes encouragement from the people around you too, I believe, because, no one likes to hit the hurdle because it attracts a lot of attention. It's loud. And if you go down, it's a scene,
Yeah.
So no one likes that. So I think the biggest thing is making it normalized and not making it a big deal. It's like, it's okay. Get up, keep going.
Yeah.
Try to keep it as normal as possible. Obviously make sure they're okay, but I think that's one of the biggest
remember that
things.
millions of people aren't even trying to hurdle. So the fact that you're out there doing the hurdling is pretty impressive to start with.
Okay. The women's hurdles are 33 inches.
So almost 3 feet.
3 feet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry,
I'm assuming
I just know it in inches.
When you're younger, middle school, it's shorter, I would assume.
When you're in middle school, it's 30 inches, so only 3 inches less. And from high school to college for women, it stays 33. Now, men's hurdles are a little bit different. Middle school, they're 36, and then high school, they go to 39, and then in college, they go to 42.
That's interesting. I feel like boys don't get their growth spurt till later. So they're starting off in middle school already shorter probably. And that's interesting.
Yeah.
So do you have any pre-meet rituals or superstitions?
Funny you ask. My coach in college is so superstitious. I have never been superstitious. I don't really have any rituals. For my warm-up, I do the same thing every single time. But then sometimes I change it depending on how I'm feeling. If it's super hot, sometimes I do less because I don't need to warm up as much because I'm already warm.
Listen to music before you get up on the blocks?
So one of the rules with NCAA or track and field is headphones are prohibited. You are not allowed to have headphones on the competition track. So warm up is different. But on the competition track, as soon as you get taken from the warm-up area, you get lined up, you get the stickers, you get all the stuff. There, no phones, no devices, no headphones, no nothing. So they don't take it from you, but they tell you to put it away.
Okay.
Once I'm at the track, I'm there. I'm kind of trying to pay attention. At track meets, it's so important, especially during the warm-up area. There are people running everywhere. Everywhere. Every direction. So your head has to be on a swivel. And if you're not paying attention, you could get wiped out by someone because they thought you saw them and they thought you were going to move or whatever. So it's really important to kind of pay attention to your surroundings because people are coming from everywhere.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay.
So we're going to talk about training and conditioning. What does that look like for a hurdler all throughout the year?
For me, I do respond really well to speech. Is essentially just going fast most of the time. I know it sounds silly. It's like if I put myself in a situation where I'm running fast as I can, pushing the boundary of what I say feels scary, or, putting yourself in an area that is taxing and, you are stressing your system. So I do a lot of speech training. That's something I enjoy to do. I really struggle. I always have struggled with the longer distance running training. So in fall conditioning, where it's the stereotypical conditioning where they're keeping you straight for the whole season. That is always a part of it that I struggle with. I'm not saying it's not necessary. It's always something I struggle with. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I just enjoy it much. And so I just don't tolerate it because I don't enjoy it. No. But for me, most of the time, it's doing speech training and going fast and figuring out how to put myself in situations that it's taxing my logical system and really stressing my system and making it figure out how to your new things out.
If you're competing this weekend, that's kind of the end of this season. Then
Yes.
So then the fall conditioning will start August or September-ish, when school starts, I guess.
Yes. Whenever school starts. School starts 18th of August. So we will start fall conditioning and lifting, things like that in the end of August.
And then when does the actual track season start?
It starts with indoor, and that starts in, I believe, for me, it's the last week of December and kind of kicks off in January.
Okay. So you got a couple months of preseason conditioning and then 6 months of for real track and okay. Wow.
Yeah, 6 to 8 months, depending on how well you do in your season. Because I've been going since January.
Okay. Yeah.
So I've been going
7 months already.
7 months, almost 8. Well, no, almost fully 7.
Yeah.
So yeah, yep. It's definitely a long season.
Yeah.
And how do you balance being an athlete with your studies?
I have always been the type of student to get my homework done as soon as possible. I've always been that way. I've always been the first person to say something because I don't want it to be late. It is a balance. It does take time. It does take time figuring out your schedule and how you function, especially once you get to college. It's a little bit different than high school, and just the assignment professors and all the things.
And what is your major?
Kinesiology. Going to go to practice school when I'm done here. So after I graduate this year, I plan to go to practice.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I read that you were an academic All-American as well. So obviously you're doing a good job keeping up with your studies. So from a grade perspective. So yeah.
So I'll ask my final question, and I've been asking it to all the college athletes that we've had on here. What would you suggest to the young athletes that may be interested in participating in hurdles and competing at the highest level, which, you are competing at these U.S. national events?
I would tell them that whenever you're doing a sport that you're committing so much of your time to, it's really important that it's something you love doing and it feel like a chore. It starts to feel like a chore, get really tough and hard. And burnout is the real thing. And making sure that if you do continue to do to do this in college, it's important to communicate about what you need. Being a college athlete, mental health is huge because it is tough. And I would say one of the most important things is making sure you're okay mentally and that you love doing what you're doing. And, you surround yourself with people that support you, whether it's your family or that it's friends. Find that support. Because personally, for me, my support system is everything to me. This year's I've had so many people that are supporting me that I had no idea. And it is eye-opening. And I've been so flattered and just taken back because I truly have an amazing support system of everyone in my hometown or people that are friends of friends. So I would just say to the people that are or want to pursue sport is don't do it because you want to get something out of it later. Do it because you love it. Don't because you think you're going to make a lot of money. Do it because you love it, and do it because you love the practice, you love the hard work, the dedication to it, and you working hard because you love being good at what you do. That would be my
Awesome. I think that's great advice.
Yeah, and I think we've gotten that from different versions of that, but some of the other people Jenny's asked that question to. I think that's been like a common theme of it's hard. It's very hard. So you better love it because otherwise, what's the point of spending all that effort, to your point, if you don't actually enjoy what you're doing? If it's just an means to an end, it's a lot of practice and early mornings and rough days if that's all you kind of get out of it. Yeah. So that's awesome. Well, I do know that as you said, your hometown's definitely rooting for you because Matt was very excited to suggest you come on this podcast. I know he's really proud of you. So that's awesome. Yeah.
He just wants that finder's fee at this point.
He does. He got you and Amber. He did tell me he was going to charge me for it. So, Matt, if you're listening, I'm not paying you.
Oh my
That's
God,
funny.
that's so funny.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on. We wish you all the best this weekend. I will Google how to watch it or at least see what the results were. So we'll be cheering you on from afar and hope you do well this weekend.
Thank you.
Awesome. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on this week's episode. And if you've liked what you've heard and you've stuck with us this far, we would love for you to subscribe. We are on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. We hope to see you next week.